It was supposed to be a quiet night. It's just a normal Tuesday in early fall. The kind of evening that passed without leaving a mark. Emily Carter told herself that as she curled her legs under her on the soft gray couch in her Seattle apartment. The city outside was wet from steady rain, streetlights glowing against slick pavement, cars hissing past in the distance. Inside, the only light came from the television and a small lamp in the corner. It felt calm, safe, ordinary. Ryan Mitchell sat beside her. Not too close, not too far. It's close enough that she could feel the warmth from his body through the thin sleeve of her sweater. It's far enough that they could still pretend this was what it had always been to best friends watching TV after dinner. Laughing at the same jokes, sharing the same space the way they had for years. 7 years to be exact. They met in college in Chicago. She had been late to a psychology lecture, rushing in with wet hair and a notebook pressed to her chest. He had been the only one who moved his backpack so she could sit down. He smiled. She smiled back. It was simple then. Study partners, coffee breaks, long walks after class. They learned each other's fears, dreams, habits. They became safe places for one another. After graduation, life pulled them in different directions for a while. Ryan moved to Seattle for a tech job. Emily followed a year later when she landed. A marketing position at a small design firm. It felt natural. It's comfortable. Like their story had never paused. But somewhere between late-night pizza orders and weekend hikes, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic. Didn't happen in one clear moment. It was in the way Ryan's voice softened when he asked if she got home safe. The way Emily felt slightly jealous when he mentioned another woman. The way neither of them dated seriously for long. They never spoke about it. They didn't need to. Or maybe they were both too afraid to. That Tuesday night they had ordered Thai food like usual. Containers still sat open on the coffee table. A half-finished glass of sparkling water rested near Emily's knee. Ryan leaned back, remote in hand, flipping through channels until he found a late-night comedy show. "Remember when we tried to make curry ourselves?" he said with a small laugh. Emily groaned. "Do you mean when you almost set off the smoke alarm? You're the one who said medium heat." "Medium doesn't mean maximum." Both laughed, the sound filling the small room. Easy, familiar. That was their pattern. Jokes layered over something deeper. Comfort layered over tension. As the show played, Emily tried to focus on the screen, but she was too aware of Ryan beside her. His arms stretched along the back of the couch, just behind her shoulders. Not touching. Just there. The fabric of his shirt brushed lightly against her hair when he shifted. She told herself it didn't mean anything. Friends sat like this all the time, but her heartbeat said otherwise. Outside, the rain grew heavier, tapping against the windows in a steady rhythm. The apartment felt warmer, smaller, like the world had shrunk down to just this room. Ryan laughed at something on TV and leaned forward slightly. His knee brushed hers for a second too long. He didn't move it right away. Neither did she. Emily stared straight ahead, pretending to be invested in the show, but her mind was racing. She could feel the exact place where his leg touched hers. It was ridiculous how aware she was of it. Like her body had tuned itself to him without permission. Ryan shifted again. His arm slid down from the back of the couch. His hand slipped. It brushed her shoulder first, light and almost accidental. Then traced down the curve of her upper arm before landing against her side. Both of them froze. It was small, barely noticeable. But it changed everything. Ryan pulled his hand back. "Halfway, sorry," he said quickly. "Didn't mean to." His voice wasn't steady. Emily swallowed. Her skin felt warm where he had touched her. She could still feel the shape of his fingers, like the memory had already stamped itself. There, she had a choice. Move away, laugh it off, create space. Instead, she stayed still. Her shoulder didn't shift. Her body didn't lean away. She let the silence stretch between them. Ryan noticed. She could feel it in the way he stopped breathing for a moment, in the way the air thickened. The show continued playing, but neither of them was watching now. His hand rested on the couch cushion beside her, so close that their fingers were almost touching. Emily's heart pounded hard in her chest. She told herself this was dangerous. If they crossed this line, there was no going back. 7 years of friendship could change in 1 second. But another voice inside her whispered that maybe it had already changed. Ryan turned his head slightly. She felt his gaze before she met it. He said quietly. Just her name. Not Emily. Not Carter like he sometimes teased. Soft. Personal. She turned toward him slowly. Her faces were closer now than they had been all night. Close enough that she could see the faint line between his brows, the way his jaw tightened like he was fighting himself. The rain outside seemed louder. Maybe her heartbeat was. "I don't want to make things weird," he said, barely above a whisper. Weird. She almost smiled at the word. Because this didn't feel weird. It felt honest, raw, long overdue. His hand moved again, not by accident this time. Slowly, carefully, as if he was giving her time to stop him. It rested on her knee, warm, solid, certain. Emily's breath caught. The contact was simple, almost innocent, but it sent a wave through her. Her mind flashed through years of memories, late-night talks, shared secrets, the way he held her when her grandmother passed away, the way he looked at her when she cut her hair short and pretended not to care what he thought. She had always cared what he thought. Ryan didn't squeeze her knee. He didn't pull her closer. He just left his hand there, waiting. "If this isn't okay," he said quietly, "I'll stop." He meant it. She could hear it in his voice. He wasn't pushing, he wasn't assuming, he was asking. That was Ryan. Always careful with her, always respectful. And that made it harder, because she couldn't pretend this was a mistake anymore. She looked down at his hand, then back at his face. His eyes weren't playful. They were serious, vulnerable, like he had been holding something back for a long time, she realized. In that fast and heavy moment that she had been holding something back to. Every time he dated someone else and she said she was happy for him. Every time she chose not to sit too close. Every time she almost told him how she felt and swallowed the words instead. Her chest tightened. She didn't move away. She didn't tell him to stop. She simply let his hand stay where it was. Had that silence said more than any words could? Ryan's thumb shifted slightly against her knee, a small movement testing the space between them. When she still didn't pull away, something in his expression changed. Not relief, not triumph. Hope. The kind of hope that scared people. The television laughter sounded distant now, meaningless. The world outside didn't matter. There was only this couch, this room, this fragile line they were standing on. "Emily," he said again, softer than before. The way he said her name made her stomach twist. She knew right then that if she let this continue, nothing would ever be the same. And for the first time, that thought didn't scare her. It excited her. Ryan leaned closer, just enough that their shoulders pressed fully together. His hand remained on her knee, steady and warm. His other hand hovered near her waist, hesitant, like he was still giving her one last chance to step back. She didn't. Her body relaxed instead, a silent answer. The rain slowed slightly outside, as if the world itself was holding its breath. And in that quiet, electric space between them, Ryan made a choice. He didn't let his hand slip away, didn't apologize again. He stayed. And Emily, heart racing and eyes steady on his, knew they had just stepped into something neither of them could pretend not to feel anymore. Ryan's hand stayed on her knee. He did not press harder. He did not move away. He simply let it rest there, warm and steady, as if the weight of it carried years of silence. Emily could feel the heat of his palm through the thin fabric of her jeans. Her pulse jumped under his touch. The room felt smaller, like the walls had quietly leaned in to watch. "If this makes things weird, I'll stop," said softly. His voice was low, almost careful, like he was stepping onto thin ice. He was giving her a way out. He always did that. Never pushed her, never crossed lines without asking first. Emily looked at him, really looked at him. Ryan wasn't smiling. There was no teasing in his eyes, no charm, no safety net. He looked nervous, open, almost afraid. Weird, she thought. He thinks this would make things weird, but nothing about this felt wrong. It felt honest. Her chest tightened. She had spent so long pretending she did not feel this pull between them. Pretending that the way he looked at her sometimes meant nothing. Pretending that her stomach did not twist when another woman's name appeared on his phone. She had told herself it was just friendship. But friendship did not make her body feel this alive. "Emily," he said again, quieter this time. The rain outside softened. The world seemed to slow. "I've tried not to feel this," he admitted. "I didn't want to mess up what we have." His thumb moved slightly, brushing the edge of her knee. Small motion, careful, testing. "I thought if I ignored it, it would go away," he continued. But it didn't. His words hit her fast. No jokes. No hiding. "I sit next to you," he said, "and I have to pretend I don't want to pull you closer." Her breath caught. The truth was out now. Clear, simple. He wanted her not as a friend, not as a maybe, as something more. Her mind raced through memories. Late nights in college when they studied until sunrise. The time he drove 6 hours to help her move apartments. The way he held her hand in the hospital when her grandmother passed. The way he always noticed when she was sad. Even when she said she was fine. She had dated other men. So had he. But none of them felt like this. None of them felt like home. Ryan swallowed. "If you don't feel the same, I swear I'll pretend this never happened." He meant it. She could see it. He would bury this for her if he had to. He would choose her comfort over his own heart. That realization broke something open inside her. She reached down slowly. Her hand trembled. Just a little as she placed it over his. He went still. Her fingers wrapped around his. Not tight, just enough. "I didn't move," she whispered, her voice soft but steady, "because I didn't want you to stop." The air shifted. Ryan's eyes searched hers, like he needed to be sure he heard her right. "You're sure?" he asked. There was no pride in his tone. Only hope and fear mixed together. She nodded. Yes. One word, but it carried years of waiting. His shoulders relaxed slightly, like he had been holding his breath for a long time. Slowly, he moved closer. Not sudden, not rushed. He gave her time at every inch. His other hand lifted and hovered near her face. "If I cross a line," he said quietly, "tell me." "You're not crossing it," she replied. Her voice surprised her. It sounded calm, even though her heart was racing. His fingers touched her cheek, gentle, warm. He brushed a loose strand of hair away from her face. His thumb lingered against her skin. The touch was soft, but it sent a wave through her body. She leaned into it without thinking. That small movement gave him his answer. He moved closer. Their knees pressed together now. Their shoulders touched, fully. She could feel his breath on her lips. For a second, neither of them moved. They were suspended there. Right before something changed forever. Ryan rested his forehead against hers. The contact was simple, but it felt deeper than anything before. Their breaths mixed, slow, uneven. "I've wanted to do this for so long," he admitted, her eyes closed. "So have I," she whispered, and then he kissed her. Not fast, not desperate, soft, careful like. He was still afraid she might disappear. His lips brushed hers lightly at first. Testing when she did not pull away, he kissed her again, a little firmer this time. Her hand tightened on his. The world outside faded completely. This wasn't wild or reckless. It was full of history, full of trust. Full of everything they had never said. Emily felt tears rise in her eyes, not from sadness, but from relief. All those nights she lay in bed wondering what it would be like. All those times she almost reached for him and stopped herself. It had been there all along. When they finally pulled back, they stayed close, foreheads still touching, eyes half open. Ryan let out a shaky breath. "'Kay?" he said softly, almost laughing. "That just happened." She smiled through her tears. "Yeah." He looked at her like she was something fragile and strong at the same time, like he could not believe she was real. "I don't want to lose you," he said suddenly. The fear in his voice was clear. That was the risk. They both knew it. If this failed, it would not just lose a relationship, they would lose 7 years of friendship, late-night talks, shared holidays, comfort. "I'm still here," she said gently. He searched her face. "But what if this changes everything?" "It already has," she replied. The truth sat between them. There was no going back. To before no, pretending this was nothing, Ryan pulled back just enough to look at her fully. "I don't want this to be one moment," he said. "I don't want it to be something we regret tomorrow." "It won't be," she said. "How do you know?" "Because I've loved you for a long time." The words slipped out before she could stop them. Silence followed. Not heavy, not tense, just real. Ryan blinked. "You've what?" She took a breath. "No hiding now. I've loved you," she repeated. "I just didn't know if you felt the same. And I was scared to ruin what we had." A slow smile spread across his face, mixed with disbelief. "Emily Carter," he said softly, "I've been in love with you since junior year." Her eyes widened. "Junior year. You wore that blue sweater and argued with the professor about social behavior. I thought you were fearless." She laughed through her tears. "You never told me. You were dating someone," he said. "Kate. And I didn't want to lose you." They both shook their heads at the same time, almost amused by how long they had danced around each other, years lost to fear. Ryan brushed his thumb under her eye, wiping away a tear. "So, what do we do now?" It was a real question, because love was one thing, building a life around was another. Emily thought about it for a second. "We stop pretending," she said. He nodded slowly, and asked, "And we try." The word hung there. Try. No promises of forever. No dramatic vows, just two people choosing to see what was already there. Ryan leaned in and kissed her again, a little more sure this time. His hand moved from her knee to her waist, pulling her closer. She felt safe in his arms. Not rushed, not pressured, just held. When they pulled apart, he rested his chin lightly against the top of her head. "I'm not just the guy who watches TV beside you anymore, am I?" he asked softly. She smiled against his chest. "No," she said. "You never were." They sat there for a while, wrapped around each other, letting the moment settle. The television still played in the background, forgotten. The rain outside slowed to a light drizzle. Nothing felt broken, nothing felt ruined. It felt right. But deep down, both of them knew something else too. Loving your best friend was the easy part. The real challenge would come tomorrow, when fear returned, when doubts tried to creep in, when the world tested what they had just begun. Ryan kissed the top of her head gently. "Stay," he murmured. "I'm not going anywhere," she replied. And for the first time in 7 years, they were not sitting beside each other they were sitting as something real, something chosen, something that had been waiting all along.